Hey everyone, it's 10 Types, and the Pokemon TCG Live team just announced a honestly pretty big update here. This is introducing a new format to Pokemon TCG Live, and this is legitimately a new format. Currently in Pokemon TCG Live, I guess I'll scroll down here to the Formats tab, which is honestly a weird group of formats. I wouldn't say Rank, Casual, Learn, and Build and Battle are four formats. But anyways, they're adding Build and Battle, which is essentially pre-release. Now, there are some differences. Notably, well, I don't know if this is actually true, but obviously, pre-release tournaments are supposed to release before these sets physically, and certainly for this first one here with Chaos Rising, it's coming out when Chaos Rising is also coming out, but that's also before, in some ways, actually, it is before the set releases physically, so in that way, it is kind of pre-release, but also in terms of, that's when they're like making an update to the game, so it kind of makes sense that that's when they implement this. So we'll see what the timetables are going to look like in the future. They haven't really talked about it too much. They've talked about, though, that they will be visiting older Build and Battle kits and using those there. First of all, if you're not familiar with Build and Battle kits, as I said, they are pre-release kits. They are the same thing. The pre-release kit and a Build and Battle kit are the same. They feature 40. So the format is a 40 card format. It talks about here that it's faster and also more casual. I'd say maybe a little more new player friendly. Not that I think Live is. I think Live is a pretty new player friendly game, but in that sense of being a new player game, a new player friendly game, you want to, as a new player, probably get some guidance from some other people if you want to play your decks, or you could just play random stuff that you make up, but then that will be presumably quite a bit weaker than what other people are playing, or at least certainly not going to find a consistent power level there. Though they do have some pretty good starter decks, but the starter decks have also been known to have some issues, some like bugs with them, or mistakes in them is their issues there. In terms of power level, though, they're pretty good, like not literally the best of the best, but they're pretty close. But anyways, with this here, you are getting, again, the same kits or the same components that are in the physical build and battle kits. So you get the. I'll just talk about it because the reason I'm talking about it a little weird here is because they have changed before and after the Mega Era, or before and during the Mega Era. So the Mega Era, you're going to get a 40 card deck, and you will also receive your 4 packs there. Previously, I believe you didn't get a full deck. There's a point at which you didn't, I know, but also the 40 card decks, there are 4 options. So pre-release kits have, or Build and Battle kits have 1 of 4 promos there. Also, I don't know if this is true. Someone tell me, but are you able to craft the pre-release promos? I don't know. I really don't care that much about arts or like at all. And I asked on Fossil and he also doesn't care. So this is interesting and is a way to get the pre-release promos though, which is cool. And you do get the cards from the pre-release kit as well. So there's going to be essentially a separate currency for it. It's not super complicated, I guess, but we also don't know all the details yet. But anyways, you are able to play these and get cards and play some games. As you can see here, you play 5 games, and then there's rewards at the end after you play those 5 games. And then it's also 4 prize games, 40 cards, 4 prize games. And here it says, yeah, you'll play a run of 5 battles, and then each prize cards each game, then your rewards at the end. Then there are some differences here between, as I said, the actual, the physical pre-release format and the build and battle format here on Pokemon TCG Live. As I said as well, as we can see here, it's not under any of the other formats. Learn's like not really a format at all. There's different formats under casual. It's not under the trainer trials. In some sense, this reminds me of trainer trials, and I'm going to be talking about one potentially really big flaw, or I don't know if flaw, but like problem with this format. But it is, kind of like trainer trials. Definitely reminds me of it. It's getting its own tab, and it's not ranked, and it's not casual. I would say it's like kind of casual. It uses a different matchmaking system, which it talks about. I don't know much about the matchmaking system of casual. I know a little bit about it in rank because they talk about it some. But you also use these event tokens. Here, this account has 99,900. You will not have 99,900. I'm assuming this is just the number that they have here, or they just like plug in a number to like use it or whatever. I imagine you will have not a lot, is my guess there, as we'll kind of get to. It might be very limited or it might just be pretty limited. But it also says there are also opportunities to earn automatic free plays. It says free plays and not free like tokens. So it's like yes, and like it's common in lots of different games. So like with Pocket, I don't currently use Pocket, but with that you get like free packs to open which don't use currency, and there's like a timer with that. Here it says it's once a week. You get one when it starts, then once every week after that. As we'll see, some are not going to last a full week, but some will last a couple. I believe currently just two, which just means you get one at the start and one a weekend. But anyways, you can use them, you can get them for free that way, which is not a ton. Also through playing, you can get some. We'll talk about that, and then it also says free plays don't stack, so make sure you use them there, and then you can also get them in the shop. It doesn't really say how you can get them in the shop. You can also redeem, I believe, code cards for build and battle kits, and they will get you one of these. What I'm actually imagining is they will just get you this, and they won't get you the cards. I mean, getting this gets you the cards, so that you will get the cards. You will need to do this. I will say you could, if you really want to, you could just like do start it and then you can just quit. Then you don't get any rewards because you play any games. Or I'm pretty sure you could start and then just quit. And if you do that, you can just use that as essentially redeeming your code cards there. Again, not exactly sure all the details there, but I think it is a fun format to play. Like legitimately, it's a format where I guess I'll talk about the logistics here. So when you hop into it, when you start your run, also it is 5 games. You don't need to like play all 5 at the same time there, though. 5 can be a bit much. It says it's shorter. I don't know exactly how long the games will be. Thinking about like I've certainly played pre-release. I've actually, if you want some tips, I've made tips videos in the last 2 pre-release formats. I may make some for the older ones as well that are going to be repeated here, but you get your pre-release kit here, and it comes with again a 40 card deck. You can just play with that, and then you get 4 more packs there, which you can add cards for, or change cards in your deck there. It is going to be only those cards that you open that you can play, as well as I imagine other basic energies. That's generally how it works. Also, there is no limit to 4 copies of a card. Interesting to see there what it says here, which is actually interesting, and something I didn't think about, which is actually good that they thought about, is that you're going to get, for example, we got 4 Ethan Cyndaquil here, and then if you pull an Ethan Cyndaquil in a pack, you can add it. But in Pokemon TCG Live, you can't have more than 4 of a card, so they don't instantly. I don't know what the right term is, but like dust the cards or trade them in for trade credits. They don't instantly do that, so you can actually you can actually get them, and with those after the event ends, they will be turned into trade credits there. But during the event, you can actually play it there, which is kind of interesting. I am a little worried if that'll work. I hope it does, though. And it's not a huge part of the format. In general, it's not like super good to do, but it's not terrible either. Then you build your deck here. You can also, I will say, you can change your deck between games. This is a big thing, a big difference between the pre-release format and it kind of, in some sense, as the games go on, they don't become more important, but they you get a chance to change your deck, you get to improve it. Sometimes in pre-release tournaments, you'll realize that your idea wasn't super good. Maybe you'll play against something that was cool as well. Additionally, once you open it and you do your run, each run is a new kit, right? So you can't reuse an older kit. Realistically, most of the kits are going to be relatively similar, relatively balanced. And again, there are 4 pre-release promo options. With the older kits, as I said, you can mix and match. So you have I think 6 different theoretical options, not of exact kits, but in terms of like general deck builds there. So if you play a bunch, you'll see the same ones, and if you have a favorite, you'll get it sometimes, though you won't get it more than you will get it, unfortunately. But overall, as I said, I think the balance is all right. And I don't really talk about the balance too much, honestly, in pre-release, because with pre-release, you get what you get, and you just got to go with it, and you're like spending actual money. And I always want people to enjoy what they get, but in terms of balance, it's fine there. Also, I will mention here, this is related to pre-release and this tournament here as well. You cannot add more than 1 copy of an A-Spec or a Radiant, or A-Specs or Radiants. You can't play 2 different ones either. This is a rule on the card. It's not a rule of the game, so that's why you're not able to do that in pre. But anyways, then, as far as I'm aware, these will be going on continuously. I don't actually know if that's the case, but I hope so, and I hope people play this. The big issue here that I might have is kind of talks about matchmaking, and with matchmaking, it says it's different, but that's all it says, right? It says it's like different. I kind of feel like it should just match you into whoever. It's supposed to balance skill, the format. So then I feel like the matchmaking doesn't really do it, and I'm worried that there will not be enough people playing it. The trainer trials, people play some. I guess tell me in the comment section your thoughts on or your like experiences playing trainer trials and the matchmaking there. I've played it some. I played different ones, and generally they're played some, but it's definitely a little awkward to find matches, and is something that discourages me from playing, presumably discourages other people from playing, and then they don't play, and then yeah, it keeps spiraling there. So that happens. That's gonna be pretty rough, especially if you're in the middle of a run. And you're like, oh yeah, I just want to keep playing, and you can't play. That seems really off. I do hope they push this. I feel like they've done an okay job at pushing trainer trials. They could do a bit of a better job. I think the trainer trials in general are decently fun to play as a new experience. In terms of a new experience, if you're looking for a new format, currently, as I said, there are different formats. There's obviously standard, which is the main one by far, which is pretty good. I actually do think standard is in. Actually, I don't think standard is in particularly good state, but I do enjoy the format. So objectively, I'd say it's not so good, which I guess is probably what matters for most people. But subjectively, I think it's all right. And then you have expanded. Expanded is kind of weird. I played a little. Generally, you don't see good decks. You see like all sorts of random decks. So it's definitely a very inconsistent experience there. I'd say the casual formats in general are going to find a more inconsistent experience, which can be cool, but I'd say it probably isn't, because if you're looking for something when you go in, you may or may not find it there. And then you have as I said, the tournament trials there. I think the decks are generally um, not like amazing, but well, you'll find, I guess, a more consistent experience. And then those are the formats. There's also casual standard, which is standard. And then you have this new format here, and here you will find a consistent experience in terms of the decks you're playing with and against. Realistically, the best and worst decks won't be super different. I guess like the very best decks, you might get rolled by something absolutely nasty, but you can't like keep old decks. So if you pull like a crazy deck either, or also then you're not gonna be able to go back to that deck, which is probably good. Realistically, the quote nasty decks are probably just gonna be like focused around one big like mega or something, which is kind of fun for one time. It is something that it's fun just to kind of roll people at times, right? But also it doesn't create a super fun and interesting experience. And this is not a format where you'll see everyone playing these like crazy broken decks. They'll be pretty similar there. So definitely something to keep an eye out for and have fun with. I think it's a fun format. It's also relatively easy. That it's a 40 card deck. You're gonna see less complicated cards than standard, I suppose, and decent balance between the decks. It definitely varies from kit to kit how the balance is, but generally I'd say it's pretty decent. It's only 5 games. You do play all 5 games. I need to talk about the rewards some now. Rewards are a pretty meaningful part of it. The way this works is a little confusing, and actually, I was talking with the Uncommon Fossil about this, and he said to me there might actually be incentive to lose some games, arguably, which is kind of bad that could be the case. The way it works is you play 5 games, and so then you win, you get something from the win column, and then if you lose, you get something from the lose column. So if you win, then you get the first thing on the win column. So if you win your first game, you get the first thing on the win column. If you win your second game after you won your first game, you get the next thing on the win column. But if you say lost your first game and then you won your second game, you get the first thing from the loss and the first thing from the win. So you'll have 5 things combination from the win plus loss column, but it's not like this isn't necessarily this final column isn't what you get from your 5th game unless you win all your games or lose all your games. So in some sense, if you lose your first 4 games, then if you lose your 5th game, you'll get 150 trainer points. If you win your 5th game, you'll get 1 booster pack and 50 trainer points. I'm actually not familiar very much with exactly how many packs or how many trainer points a pack is worth. But I think it's better to technically you should, play and have fun as well. Forfeiting doesn't count as losing all the games. It counts as not. I'm pretty sure it counts as not playing the games you didn't play. So if you, for some reason just really like open a can or like I really don't want to do this, then you can forfeit. But I generally wouldn't recommend it. But there's an option if you want to do it. You can do it, and that would be just to end the run. And then you do get the rewards though for the games you played. So if you're at this point and you forfeited, you'd get 2 booster packs and 100 trainer points. Additionally, what you get is you can see here, you get more trainer points the further along you are, kind of, and then you get more booster packs for the wins. And then also, if you hit your 3 wins, then you get an event token. So in that sense, you can keep streaming them. As I said, I think there are other ways to get them in the shop. I'm assuming it's not actual money. In terms of the code cards, those are essentially actual money. They aren't actual money, but they, you can, you get them. They're like, I mean, they're a physical thing. They're kind of weird. But anyways, with that, you're able to, go ahead and continue doing this again and again. If you get 3 wins, which is relatively doable, you're certainly not going to get there every time. Even if you're pretty good. And as I said, it's pretty even. So, you'll probably get there half the time. If you're, I guess, better, you'll get there more. And then if you're worse, then you'll get there less, obviously. But that is, I think, the big thing to look at there. And as we can see, that'll mean that, you'll get there sometimes, but you won't get there like all the time. If it was 2 wins, it could be that both people, like essentially there's an infinite amount of event tokens. That could be possible, but that's not the case. It's 3. So, yeah, it's not like you're playing a set against someone else, but if you theoretically did that, which actually happened, now that I think about it, I didn't think about this before, but you might pair to the same people. That could be bad. So I hope that doesn't happen because that's not fun. It's not like horrible, but it's, you're looking for something a little more diverse than that. So we'll see exactly what happens here. They, obviously might change some things, which they've said. And then there is the schedule, which is actually very important as well. So with the release of Chaos Rising, we'll be able to play build and battle format of Chaos Rising. And I made a video on that, so you can check that one out. And I think it's pretty solid as well. If you have any questions about like strategy stuff, though, feel free to ask that in the comment section of that video or this video. I'd say this video because it's newer, and I'll probably see it more likely, but I'll probably see it on the other one as well. But that's going to be for 2 weeks there. Additionally, last thing is there is an entry cutoff time. So within the last hour, you can't start a new run. So you can actually finish the run, which is fine. I don't think it's a huge issue. I wouldn't say it's bad. I guess I'd say it might be good. Obviously, it'd be kind of frustrating if you're playing and you just couldn't finish. But yeah, that's something they've decided to do, which seems fine. And again, just keep that in mind if for whatever reason you can't do it. But then, and that's only going to be an hour. As I said, I believe they're all back to back there. So you could just wait another hour and then start. Could be annoying, but should be fine. And then with that, also you are playing against, for that reason, just the same pre-release, right? You're not going to be playing against someone like a different pre-release kit of a different era. But anyways, you have the first one, which is Mega Evolution Chaos Rising there. Then 2 weeks after the start of that, it's going to be for only 2 days, Scarlet and Violet Destined Rivals. And then 2 days after that is Scarlet and Violet Twilight Masquerade. Kind of weird there's only 2 days. I'm not going to lie. Definitely not what I was expecting, but definitely interesting as well. And then for another 2 weeks, I believe, or wait, no, so for 10 days, which is 2 weeks, minus the 4 days from the other 2, again, kind of weird there. But then you are doing Perfect Order, which is the format in Mega. It does in Mega Evolution 1. So again, that works a little differently. The Scarlet Violet one's just a tiny bit differently what they get. But with that, that's Mega Evolution 1. That's going to be for the. So I'm looking at and reading the details of the getting the tokens, but it's going to be longer there, and they're moving backwards. So I imagine that after that they'll probably do Phantasmal Flames at some point. I think that would make sense. Again, mini sets don't, or special sets or whatever. I call them mini sets generally. They don't have pre-release. So you'll see 4 pre-release kits a year. Also, I guess I saw Triple B make a video on this, who actually was the one who that's how I learned about this. And he said that maybe they'll do older sets that aren't, once they add sets to live, the expand sets, but there's only a handful that actually had pre-release. So, or had like build and battle kits, and they weren't even called build and battle kits either. I believe they were actually called pre-release kits. but I think there's like 3 sets or something that category. Let me actually check that real quick. But yeah, quickly before I do that, regarding the details, it's got a free one when it starts, as well as a week, as well as every week after, which I think is the same thing here. It's written different. But looking at XY promos, I believe Fates Collided was the first set to feature pre-release promos. Like Ultras had one. Yeah, looking at XY promos, it does, and then it's a bit awkward to look through. So let me just even have all the images, which is kind of funny. Got a promo exclusive. I'm getting distracted again. Anyways, so see where's the Moltres? Moltres here. Yeah, looking earlier, it looks like that is the first set with not with pre-release promos. I believe that they had pre-release promos, but I believe they just had one. Looking at Breakpoint here, which of these was, I have no idea what the pre-release promo was. This set, I said, I believe there was just one pre-release promo. It is. Do some Mewtwo's. This is definitely getting a little sidetracked here, but yeah, it happens. Gyarados, this is a pre-release promo. I don't know what they looked like. If someone can tell me about the older pre-release promos, tell me in the comment section. But anyways, Fates Glad and Steam Siege Evolutions had pre-release promos there, so that's the thing. Those are the ones not in the game. The rest are all actually in the game. Sun and Moon. So that's something worth mentioning. But ultimately, I'm super excited for this format. I really enjoy pre-release format. It's super awesome. Again, this isn't, I don't actually think, a pre-release format. Like, it's not before the set comes out, but I think it will be super exciting. But tell me in the comment section what your thoughts are on this. If you're excited, if you think it's going to be a bit of a flop, I'd say Trainer Trials has been somewhere in the middle. Definitely really exciting, but also definitely a format with more potential than it, maybe lived up to. But I'd love to hear your thoughts, as I said. But also make sure you like and subscribe. Really helps support the channel. Also, huge shout outs to my YouTube members for supporting me. It also really means a ton. But I hope you all enjoyed. And as always, I'm excited to see you in the next video.